Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my podcast. You'll see this on the Strategic Advisor Board podcast site and also the Expertise podcast, which is my podcast, where we have the opportunity to interview successful business owners, to talk about their background, to talk about their experience, and then also give you entrepreneurs out there and business owners out there some ideas about how to overcome challenges in your business. And today, I'm very excited to have the opportunity to interview Bonnie McDermind, and she has been my editor for this past year as I've been writing my first book, and it has been a very challenging experience, but Bonnie has been there the entire way to help lead me through that experience. And I'm very excited for you to learn more about her business and how she works in the developmental editing phase for many books. So Bonnie, I'm very glad that you joined us today to let us know more about your genius and your expertise to make that come to life for our listeners. So welcome.
Thank you, Shelby. I'm really pleased to be here. This is really a treat to be one of your entrepreneurs that you interview, because I've got a long entrepreneurial history, and I do think I have some good nuggets to share with your audience.
Absolutely. And I said before that Bonnie's helped me write this book, and I have discovered so much about the publishing industry in this past year, just with the connections I've made. So Bonnie, can you tell a little bit more about exactly what you do and your piece in the process of publishing a book?
Absolutely. First of all, I am what is called a developmental editor. And that is a role that a lot of people don't know what that means. Even the process of editing itself, most authors don't really know what that means. So let me explain. There's actually 4 levels of editing. But the purpose of editing is to make your message and your brand shine. That's how I approach editing. So I'm a bookworm and a wordsmith with a marketing mind, excuse me. There are the 4 levels of editing are, starting at the bottom, just basic proofreading. Commas, typos, those sorts of things. Then there's line editing, and that is making sure that the words are flowing. Then there's stylistic editing to make sure that your voice comes through. And finally, there's developmental editing, and that is also called structural editing, where an editor like me will look at your content, and particularly from a reader's point of view, and make sure that all of the elements of your book and your message are in the proper order. They follow a narrative arc. That we add that it's not just mechanics. There is an art to helping you and your brand come through the words in the very best way. So those are the 4 levels of editing. Excuse me. And then, as I said a moment ago, I also bring in the marketing aspect, because I've been in the marketing communications business just about my whole career. And so I also look at your book as the marketing tool that it is.
Absolutely. Which very much resonates with where I'm at with my business, and having a book as something that establishes my credibility, tells the story about what I do, talks about my expertise, all of those things. I think that's what helped you and I resonate in that space. And it definitely speaks to me that might be your ideal client, a coach or a entrepreneur that wants to establish their credibility and have their expertise branded, if you will, in a way that can elevate their business.
Yeah, absolutely. When you told me that you wanted to interview me, I was thinking back on my history. And what I realized is that for the better part of the last 20 some years, I've been working almost exclusively with entrepreneurs. Some of them were network marketers.
Sure.
designed, published a communication, a monthly communication for network marketers, which I did for several years. And I ended up with a publication range of somewhere in the neighborhood of 150,000 a month. So a lot of people purchased my product and they sent it out, and it was an educational product, but also intended to reflect the credibility of the business owner.
Sure.
And the credibility, I should say, of the products. And the other thing I thought about looking back at my history is that the last corporate position I had was still with entrepreneurs because it was a business to business corporation. They sold products to business owners who would sell them to the consumer. And I was the manager of the marketing communications area there. And not only did I work on corporate communications, I also worked on product line communications, everything from health products, which is really one of my specialty areas, everything from health products to animal nutrition, to roofing systems, to automotive lubricants. So if
quite an array.
It is. And if I can write well and create marketing tools for automotive lubricants, I can pretty much sell anything. I guess that's how I look at it.
No kidding. Yeah, I would say that's absolutely true. That's great. So my curiosity, what I guess inspired you to move from the corporate space to doing your own type of editing? You're a solo owner. So
I am. And I have had my own business on the side in the communications area for over 25 years. Excuse me. And I even had some other entrepreneurial adventures before them too, but in other areas. One of those areas was I make a killer cheesecake. And I used to make my cheesecake and sell it to delis and to restaurants in Minneapolis. So go figure. Anyway.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But
why haven't I tried that yet?
Well, the next time we get together, I will make you my world famous cheesecake.
Please do. That sounds
good. Anyway, what prompted me to always have a side gig, if you will, is that I really, once I had my own business, I really looked differently at employment. And that is, my security was always having my own business on the side, because employers can change the structure of their staff. My last job moved to Kansas City, and I didn't want to move to Kansas City. So it's like, okay, it's really smart to have your own business on the side, which I have done, as I said, for the last 20 some years.
Yeah.
So it was, for me, it was that, as well as an outlet for my creativity, because that's not always what you can do in a corporate environment. I was able to create the publications that I wanted and that my clients wanted.
Sure.
And so I had that creative outlet as well as the corporate experience.
Which gives you a great background for working with entrepreneurs that are establishing their expertise. It just gives a great background for that. So. Yep.
Yes, it does. And I love that.
You get to control it. So, yeah.
Well, and the other piece is I love business.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few things that I think are more exciting than to see businesses succeed, and certainly my own. But to be working with business owners and having them start a business and work it and succeed with my help via a book, via marketing tools, or so on, is so exciting.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's the love of business and the love of seeing, I guess, people here in this country, in our states, being successful just makes me really happy because we are the engine of our economy.
Sure, we are.
Yep, that's what we do. And I love to see people be successful.
So business is not always super easy. It's the entrepreneurship journey is very challenging, as you and I both well know. Can you talk about one of those challenges that you've discovered in your own entrepreneurial journey to be able to give some insight to our listeners about how to overcome those challenges in your business?
I think one of the challenges is picking the business model that fits you.
Sure.
There are so many people out there, coaches, consultants, and I'm a consultant. There are so many people out there that have processes. They suggest that you create an email list, or that you have podcasts, or that you have a very involved outgoing marketing effort. And it's challenging to pick, as I said, the type that makes sense for you. So for me, what I appreciate about being my own owner, my business owner, is that I work through referrals. Mm-hmm. My author network, my publisher network is, these people are colleagues, and we share referrals. And that's what works for me. I want to put my energy into the client work. I don't want to put my energy into some huge, very involved marketing effort. That's just not where I am in my career. I really enjoy doing referrals because then there's that sense of community and that we are building each other's businesses.
Absolutely.
So I think that's one of the biggest challenges, is figuring out how you want to do your business in terms of marketing.
And you've got to do it in a way that fits your personality and your brand and who you want to connect with. And I think that refinement or that discovery, I think, is, at least I feel similar in my own entrepreneurial journey, that's one of the biggest challenges, and being able to design your business around what you want. Those are some pretty fundamental questions that are hard to answer. So that's
yeah. And oftentimes when you're a newbie, you can't do that.
Right.
In my, you can't do everything by referrals. I couldn't do that 20 years ago. Right. I had to make a much more concerted effort to, be visible. And yes, designing the way you want your business to operate. Those are great words to describe the ideal, what we want as entrepreneurs.
And you're there. You're doing what you want in the way that you want to do it. Yes,
I am. And I'm in northern Minnesota, and I can do this from anywhere. I guess that's my point. Yep. Over the years, I have edited books. I have edited publications on boats, on Lake Superior, in Duluth. I've been in Florida for weeks and editing books and publications. And that's one of the best things about my job. I can do it pretty much anywhere.
From anywhere. That's awesome. Well, great, Bonnie. How can people get a hold of you if they need your services? Can you tell us that? And I'll make sure I'll have that all in the podcast intro too, so they can just immediately go to your site. So
thank you. Okay. So you can visit my website. It's wordsmith.inc. wordsmith.ink. And there you can see more about me, learn more about my services, and how to contact me. If you'd like my phone number, I'm at 612-242-7700. And you could reach me at editor@wordsmith.inc. And I would love to hear from you. If you just have questions about the editing process or what you're needing, you may not know what the questions to ask, but if you'd like some just consultation on your book or your publication, I'd be delighted to talk with you.
I can tell you from experience that your conversations might go a long time because there's a lot of interaction there, and there's a lot of discovery there, and which just makes your book and that process that much better. So
thank you, Shelby.
It's been a treat to work with you, and I am excited to see my own book come out, but then to also meet other authors that you've worked with. And I'm really excited that you're a part of my network, and I am excited to introduce your services to other people so they also know the magic that can happen when working with you. So
thank you so much. I am so pleased to be part of your network. I loved working on your book with you. By the way, the name of Shelby's book is I See Your Genius, Turning Your Ideas into Income. And it's brilliant, honestly. So I'm honored to have worked on your book. It was a pleasure, and delighted to be looking forward to more projects together.
Yes. Well, thank you for those words. My book is coming out, but that's not the point of this podcast. The point of this podcast is to talk about you and your services and how great it is to work with you. So I thank you for coming, and I thank you all for listening to the podcast today, where we have the opportunity to talk to somebody who has created a business out of their genius, and they have the opportunity to design their business around their lifestyle and what they want to do. So thank you, and we'll talk to you next time on the Strategic Advisor Board podcast and the Expertise podcast, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Bonnie.
Thanks, Shelby. Appreciate it.
Okay. See you next time. Bye-bye.